Welcome to Rainy Day Rabbit Holes, where we take the history of the West off the rails.
If you like your history unhinged, you are in the right place.
I'm Shea.
And I'm Jody.
Let's fall down the rabbit hole. Welcome back, rabbit holers, and happy spooky season. Today, we are so excited to have a very special guest back in the Bigfoot den, the king of Tacoma, Chris Staudinger, founder of Pretty Gritty Tours. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've dubbed you the king of Tacoma at this point.
No, that's fine, actually. I'll take it. I will say, I have one guy online who always calls me the Wizard of Washington.
Ooh, I like that too.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's good. King of Tacoma, Wizard of Washington.
I mean, it just depends on how narrow you want your focus.
Yeah, truly, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, given how far spread out you are with Pretty Gritty Tours,
now in the Tri-Cities,
you are kind of the Wizard of Washington.
I suppose, I should open myself up to that diversification.
So you started as the king of Tacoma and worked your way up to the Wizard of Washington.
I would read that fairy tale. That's a weird progression.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking king to wizard.
And now, not only is Chris a very busy business owner, tour guide extraordinaire, Tacoma historian, and local celebrity, he's also an author.
Just, add one more thing.
Exactly, because running tours, making TikToks, posting Tacoma history gems on Facebook, and generally being Tacoma's ambassador of weird wasn't enough, Chris thought, hey, why not add a book author to the to-do list?
I think last time you were here, we actually commented on all of your careers and adventures, and you just said, okay, yeah, I'll add one more.
Yeah, I think that
I'll just be an author.
You guys were like, yeah, you should write a book. I was like, well, fine.
Oh, yeah, that was us.
Yeah.
We inspired you.
You did.
We?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Did we get a
thank you.
royalty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, sure.
I'll give you 2% of my 2%.
Chris's brand new book is Secret Tacoma, a guide to the weird, wonderful, and obscure. Chris takes the reader on a journey through Tacoma's hidden historical gems, from Bob's Java Jive, the coffee pot-shaped bar, forgotten towns in the trees, moving sidewalks, to haunted locations. There's dozens of little tidbits about the city that I bet even longtime residents know nothing about. Chris, I kind of feel like this book is your love letter to Tacoma.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting choked up just talking about it. Yeah, I would say I think that's a very apt description, isn't it? I did want to put down everything that I really was fond of in here and then just send it off.
Well, I was very surprised. I read the book in one sitting, by the way. I just sat down, read it cover to cover. It was great. There were quite a few stories I was familiar with, but most of that was because of you. Between your social media and tours, you really do give a lot of information for free out to people. But then there were quite a few that I was very surprised about. So some of the stories that I really found interesting, the Tacoma's moving sidewalks.
Isn't that fascinating?
So futuristic, so weird.
Yeah, 1960s Escalades.
I love that. Escalades?
Yeah, I think that's what they were legit called at the time.
Okay.
The Tacoma Escalades.
Oh, that's fancy.
And they were a mechanized moving sidewalk, like at the airport, right?
Uh-huh.
And then it was designed to get people to come shop downtown by covering the space, right? So they're like, you'll be dry, and you don't have to walk up the hills.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it was super successful.
Excuse me. Was it connected to a certain department store?
No, it kind of connected the city blocks, right? So it was down by the Sears and the Woolworths. I'm not even sure. It was in that main shopping district downtown, but it didn't go specifically from one to the other. It was kind of like you could cross from this block up to the next block without going up a hill.
How long did they run?
At least 15 years, if I'm not mistaken. Then they kind of hit the problem where no one was downtown shopping because they were all out at the mall.
Oh, yeah.
And so they kind of just became an easy place for people to sleep. And then it was a tough time for them.
What was the injury rate?
More than you would expect. And there's actually some great articles in the archives of people slipping on the ice and then just continuing down the Escalades.
Like a slide?
Yeah.
A slip and slide unintentionally?
Yeah, it was like a whole hazard where they put out an article like essentially warning wayward men. They're like, be careful out there, gentlemen. You could slip down the escalades.
But the ladies were fine.
Yeah. They're like, listen.
We would appreciate that. Your skirt's flying up over your head. Ladies, slide down this.
Do as you wish.
See your bloomers.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking in 1960s, and this seems like kind of a dangerous piece of machinery, and they don't care about safety. I kind of figured there'd be some injuries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A little shady.
Mm-hmm. Ripe for injury.
So another one I had never heard of, which I was so disappointed that we didn't know about this for our sea serpents or sea monsters of the Salish Sea, is the electric sea serpent.
Yeah.
What is this even?
That is a great question. There's been a lot of speculation about it, but the things that we know definitively is that in the late 1800s, some fishermen went out and said that they had hooked something that was too big for them to just like reel into the boat. So they went ashore and they pulled it up, and it was, by their description, a over 100-foot long copper-banded serpent that was like shooting electricity based on one of the descriptions.
Because that's what creatures do.
And one of the fishermen got shocked and like passed out, and everyone was like, okay, whiskey for sure.
Right.
But he had like a burn on his arm.
Like an electrical burn?
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
So I don't know. There were some other accounts over the years of people seeing stuff, but no one was really sure. No one's pulled it out yet.
Okay. So it's kind of our local Cadborosaurus
Absolutely.
situation.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Our Nessie.
Yeah. And then Rebecca Carr. I know the Carrs were one of the founding families of Tacoma, and we've got a Carr park, and very important. I know it's on your Old Town Ghost tour. That's where it starts. But Rebecca Carr, the psychic. So she was a spiritualist.
She was a devout spiritualist, real incredible woman just across the board. And her thing was, if you were to go to her and hand her something that you had been carrying on yourself for a while, she would be able to see your future, see what was coming down the line for you. And the story that I think resonates with me the most is a guy in Tacoma went to her, and he was not like a big believer in this, so he just gave her a kerchief he had on him. And she saw this really clear picture of a heavyset guy going down to the train station and just doing train things. And he was like, well, this doesn't apply to me at all. Like, that's not me. I don't have anything to do with trains. So Rebecca asked him, she's like, is this yours? And he realized it wasn't. He had borrowed that kerchief from the woman who was running the boarding house that morning. And so he went back to her and gave the kerchief, and she was saying that it belonged to her brother, who was a train engineer.
Oh, wow.
And like this whole thing. So he went back the next day with a pocket knife that he had, and what Rebecca saw was exactly what ended up happening to him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So talented woman.
Interesting. The spiritualist movement in the 1800s is fascinating to me. Not only for kind of buttoned up Victorian era to get into this, but just the way it gave women power was really interesting. We just recorded a story about the Bloody Benders out of Kansas, and spiritualism factored into that as well. Spiritualism really helped, and the free love movement in the late 1800s helped push forward feminism and the suffragettes, and I'm trying to think, was it in Olympia there was the bloomer movement, pretty big spiritualist movement there. It's very interesting. Jody, did you have any stories that stood out to you? You haven't finished it yet, have you?
I haven't even read it. Keith confiscated it from me.
No.
I had to go get it from him just to have Chris sign it today. I haven't even had custody of it.
We're gonna cut that.
Yeah, I can see that he has his favorite stories. So we should have invited him.
Right? He would have loved that. So I'm interested in how you chose your stories for the book, because I'm sure that there were some that got left behind, sadly, on the cutting room floor.
I went to Rebecca Carr and I said, hey, could you... Genuinely, that was the most difficult part. Yeah. It was just trying to I wanted something that was iconic, right? I needed the quintessential Tacoma bits. But then I also wanted things that if you were brand new to Tacoma were like in the emergency kit of things you should know. But then also things where it was like, if you have lived here your whole life, what would be something that would be new and fresh? So it was difficult to find the right balance of things. And I don't know that I did it. Because honestly, I'm too close to all of this information. So the stuff for me where I was like, everybody knows that. My test audience was like,
sure.
I've never heard of that before at all. Yeah.
I could see that, the assumption.
Yeah.
Feeling like it's just common knowledge and then finding out it's not. Yeah.
So I kind of just seeded it out to people that had no knowledge of anything really about Tacoma. And I was like, is this interesting to you? And then went from there.
Nice.
It is full of fascinating information about the city. And I really like how you set it up. So it's kind of like a tour guide. So you're new to Tacoma, or you've lived here forever and had no idea about these things. You can go and explore based on this book. He gives you places to go to see these things. Some of them don't exist anymore, but you can go to the area. He gives you the costs for things, which some of them are like you would need to buy this piece of property or something like that, or you go to church, or just you can go explore that area and see the thing, like the Proctor clock. That's easy. That's cool. Been right in front of it. Had no idea. A lot of the statuary around the city. Why is that there? He explains why. So it's a great way to get to know Tacoma. It's something that you can do with kids. It's something that you can do with out of town people. I'm going to take it with me. I've got a company coming in out of town next month, and we're going to do a little Tacoma tour based on that. And of course, you can always take tours with Chris, with Pretty Gritty Tours, or with any of the other amazing tour guides. They're all incredible, including myself.
I was going to say,
wow.
But right now, I'm mostly just stadium because I like to be inside and dry.
we understand.
We'll let Anna stand in the rain without an umbrella or a hood. And let the mascara run down her face. And she's like, fine. 6 months pregnant, whatever.
She is true PNW.
Yeah, she is. So, the book really is a mix of forgotten history, myth, and also some downright spooky legends.
Indeed.
Which we will get to after this break. Boom, boom, boom.
Ooh.
Thank you. I want to keep that in.
I just made that up
spooky music
on the moment. Love it. No,
God.
It wasn't meant to be spooky.
Oh, but it was.
And we're back. And now, speaking of weird, wonderful, and spooky, one of the chapters in Chris's book deals with a ship whose disappearance left behind not just tragedy, but also some of Tacoma's deepest mysteries and creepiest ghost stories.
This is the don't.
Before we get started here, Chris, can you paint a picture of Tacoma's waterfront in 1889? What was Commencement Bay and Tacoma like at that time?
In 1899, Tacoma's waterfront would have been this bustling commotion of activity. It was hundreds of tall ships coming and going from every foreign port in the world, and the constant chaos of the smelter and the lumber mill and these itinerant sailors, just moving industry throughout the region and then shipping it abroad.
So, think busy,
very busy.
Possibly stinky.
Definitely stinky. I've seen photos of it, and it's just insane to me, the number of people just on the beach, on the shores, down on the waterway. Hundreds of people.
It had gone from like
a
small lumber camp of 300, 400 people to an international port of over 40,000, almost overnight.
Yeah, and it's like shoulder to shoulder people on. It's insane to me because now it's not like that. I mean, there are people down there, but not like that. Thank goodness, because I wouldn't enjoy it.
But still, I think the third largest port in all of the United States. So it's still a very important port. So tall-masted ships, and there's one in particular that is the subject of one of the chapters in your book and the subject of today's episode, the Andelana. Is that how we pronounce it?
Man, so controversial, but yes.
Okay.
I know a lot of people say Andelana.
Which is how I always said it until I heard you say it.
Yeah, but there's no E at the end, right?
Andelana.
That's the Andelana.
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 And Alana.
That's what your daughter should
There we
name
go.
her next daughter.
Oh, yeah, it is a girl. We found out the other day.
That's a beautiful name.
That is a good one. We'll have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andelana.
Andelana.
Andelana. And it wasn't just a small vessel, right?
300 feet, iron hold, four-masted. It was a big ship with the intention of carrying a tremendous amount of cargo.
Now, give us a little bit about the ship's history, maybe its itinerary, where did it come from?
The Andelana had originally been commissioned out of Liverpool. It was a British ship and had 3 captains over its 7-year career. The most recent one was Captain George Staudinger out of Nova Scotia, and they had just completed a circumnavigation. They'd left England, gone around Africa, up, and then stopped in Shanghai, made their way across the Pacific to Tacoma.
Was this their first visit to Tacoma?
No, they had been to Tacoma before, but
Okay.
this would be their last visit to Tacoma.
Okay. And they did stop at Yokohama, though, right? Let's make sure we bring up Japan.
Yes, indeed. I would
not
like to
forget
touch base
Japan.
at all times. Yes, yep. They had really, gone as many places as you could at that time.
Okay. And do you know what their cargo generally was? Or is it varied or?
It depended on the port. So when they had left Shanghai, they left with oil, deposited that in Tacoma, and then they were intending to load up with wheat and grain.
And head where?
Then they were going to head back to Europe.
Okay. It's a sturdy, well-traveled ship.
It had done a lot of miles by this point in 1899.
Now, I know that there had been some problems in keeping crew aboard this ship.
You know, it had a reputation for being cursed. There were a lot of injuries on board and a lot of really dramatic deaths that had occurred on board as well. And so people were in the habit of just quitting without pay and disappearing into the night.
And this leads into the tragedy of the night that we are talking about. So, all right, tell us the tale, the night that...
So the Andelana arrives here in Tacoma, and right away, half the crew is gone into the night. They are done with this ship. They don't want anything to be a part of it. And so when they leave, Stalling in command tries to figure out what to do. So he commissions this photograph, right? He has Wilhelm Hester, maritime photographer, come out to the ship and snap a photo of the crew. And the idea was it would be a good luck charm and a morale booster.
With a dog.
With it, 2 dogs.
Okay.
2 dogs on board, and the remaining crew take the picture. Wilhelm goes back to shore, and then that night, we know based on ship's logs and accounts from previous ports that George Stalling was in the habit of locking up the crew at night.
Was that common?
No.
The men?
Okay.
No, it would have been a redundancy too, right? Because they're anchored in the middle of Commencement Bay on a January night, 1899.
Swimming to shore is going to be tough.
Swimming to shore in July here is lethal. At that time, impossible. But he would still secure them below deck so that if they tried to get out of the forecastle, they couldn't. And then the ship vanished.
So they're at sunset and gone by sunrise.
Yeah, the ship was riding high that night. They had offloaded all of their cargo from China. They had these 2 massive logs chained to either side of the ship to kind of help keep it secure. And then Tacoma wakes up the next morning, and as dawn crests, the logs are there and the ship is gone.
And so people think I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's what I was going to ask. Did people think that the ship had just left on its journey? Or did they...
Nobody knew. So there was some speculation that they might have left. There was some speculation that maybe it had been disappeared by some dark magic. And then there were people who were like, did it sink? Because it was strange that it was gone. Because it wasn't the only ship at anchor in Commencement Bay that night, but it was the only one that disappeared.
Wow.
Was there a storm that night?
There was, around midnight, a strong gale that blew through. So it was an isolated incident. There wasn't a storm. There wasn't like a windy, blustery moment. It was just like one strong wind came through in the middle of the night, and then it was calm again.
And it was secured to these, did you say wooden booms?
Giant logs.
Giant logs. And those were still there.
Those were there.
And were the securement device, I'm assuming chains.
Chains, yeah.
Were still there?
Yeah, the chains
Interesting.
were secured to the logs.
And didn't look like they'd been broken. They've been disconnected.
You know, I actually don't know the answer to that.
So I'm wondering, like, if is it trying to sink and then it pulls the links apart, or because the logs
I'm going to
floated?
I'm assuming that they were definitely broken. No matter what happened, the fact that they remained and the ship sank,
Yeah.
the chains had to have been broken.
Now, I know that with these tall ships, you know, especially if they have very high masts, those masts can make ships very top heavy, especially if if their hulls are empty. Had this been a problem of ship instability with the Andelana before? Wait, did I say that?
You got it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
nailed
Now
it.
I'm very questioning myself all the time.
Yes. So this had been a design flaw of this class of ship. There were, I think, 5 ships from the same company that made the Andelana, and one of the design flaws was it was a little top-heavy based on the masts. So they were a little squirrely in the water, and the leading theory by pragmatists is that riding high in the water with that giant mast,
Oh.
it flipped during that gale, filled with water, and then sank instantly.
Wow. And everybody's locked below decks.
With one notable exception.
Oh.
And here's where it gets weird. Because I'm deep, like the Andelana, in this conspiracy here. I think there was more at play than just some casual physics.
Oh.
And there's a lot to back it up. One of the most damning pieces of evidence for this whole thing is that everybody on this journey had been writing home to their families. This ship is cursed, and they've been trying to quit, right? And one guy in particular, Richard Hansa, this young 18-year-old sailor, was really convinced about the curse and worried about it, not just because of his safety, but his shipmate, Percy Buck, had been having the worst luck ever. Percy had been hit by one of the booms. He had been almost knocked overboard. All of his sea trunk had been washed over.
Oh.
And so all of his equipment and clothing was gone. He had to borrow from other crew members. He would pass out at random times. And at one point, Percy got a high fever and was just speaking in Japanese, which he didn't know.
Oh my goodness.
It wasn't a language he had. And so when they got there, Richard Hansa and Percy Buck were definitely freaked out about the curse of this ship. And right beforehand, Richard Hansa bought a little protective talisman, the size of a 50-cent piece in China, of a mystic, a fortune teller, we're not sure, sold him this protective amulet. And was like, don't worry, keep this on you and you'll be fine. They get here to Tacoma, and everyone's worried about the curse. So George Stalling needs to send some documents on shore, and he sends Percy Buck.
Okay.
Percy Buck goes ashore. He gets to the place where he's delivering all his documents, and then has to go to the hospital suddenly.
Do we know why?
They found an abscessed tooth.
Okay.
And the tooth just suddenly flared up while he was on shore. So the doctors extract it, give him the night. The next morning he's supposed to go back to the ship, but the ship is gone. That's when Percy Buck goes to a local boarding house and takes off his jacket that he had just borrowed from his bunkmate, Richard Hansa. And in the pocket,
Oh, dang.
he found the talisman.
No.
So Richard Hansa's protective talisman goes ashore with Percy Buck, and Percy
no.
Buck is the only survivor from this incident. And when I say only, I mean it in the totality of the sense. Of the other sailors that quit, right? The people that got off the ship when it got to Tacoma, I've tracked down about 12 of the 16, and each of them died in a ship-related accident
my.
within a year of the Andelana.
Okay.
Whoa.
Because they all went off
A
and
whole
joined
nother
other
dozen?
crews.
Yeah, they were all when do different things. The largest group, there were 5 that joined on to a different ship called the Andrada, and the Andrada vanished into the Pacific.
So they
Whoa.
took the curse with them.
Yeah, like it's
The boat wasn't holding it.
no. Well,
The crew was.
it's there's some speculation. There's for me an argument that something happened on board the ship that pursued each of these people, with the exception of Percy Buck, the only survivor.
Because he had the
Yeah.
talisman. Interesting.
Well, and when we'll talk about this story after we kind of wrap up the ship itself, but that was a time of a lot of human trafficking from China and other nations. Maybe it has something to do with you doing bad things.
So we'll circle back to that.
Yeah, we'll circle back to that. Okay, so the ship is gone. Everybody's scratching their heads.
So they send a diver. They have a guy named William Baldwin, no relation to the other Baldwins, I assume, but he's a hard hat diver for the railroad here in Tacoma in 1899.
Probably has to be the most dangerous job of all jobs at the time, where lots of jobs were dangerous.
It's like currently
yeah.
a dangerous job now. So
I know. And
Imagine.
imagine back then when you're putting on a bell over your head and you have a tube
Yeah,
where you were relying on somebody else
More
to
like
pump.
Snooba.
it's like a big crank on his pump on a ship, trying to keep his suit pressurized and like oxygen
So you don't
flowing
get
in.
crushed
Yeah.
and or suffocate.
And he set a world record that fateful January by going 180 feet down.
Wow.
It was at the time the deepest dive that anyone that they had known had done.
Wow.
And it's remarkable, right? Like past 100 feet now, you have to start like
Yeah.
mixing gases, and this dude's in a like suit with a bucket on his head
Yes.
at 180 feet
And somebody's
down.
just pumping regular old air
Yep.
in there.
Just good old arsenic air out of early Tacoma. Like he's down there. He finds the ship, and they're like, "Okay, well, here's the plan. Why don't you close the hatches? We'll put an air tube in it and see if we can displace the water inside and get the ship to float back up,
Oh.
and maybe reduce, reuse, recycle that sucker."
Yeah, because that thing was insured for like $100,000.
Yeah,
So it's valuable. It's very valuable.
they want it back. So
and then they can fish the corpses out too.
yeah, they'll be fine. They're on ice.
Yeah. Well preserved.
So
Saponification happening.
he's good old saponification.
Oh gosh, yeah.
He goes down, no problem. A couple days later, he's going to go down again and put these hooks on the ship so that they can see if tugboats can actually bring it closer to shore as well. But while he's down there, it's his pressurizing pump. The pump on the support ship pops its seal. The first time in his whole career. He had inspected it previously, and his suit depressurized
Oh.
in an instant.
Oh, so just crushed him
Yeah, and
like
it was
stepping on a can.
It was mostly from my understanding of it, it was the pressure change which kind of like pulled the skin off of his face up into the tube.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's all
God.
up in the helmet.
It was not a good way to go.
That is terrible.
Yeah. It's a horrifying way to die. And that's what happened. But he's not the last. Almost every dive attempt, and I got to put this in context. The technology's gotten better, right? We've had, sonar and satellite, and I don't know, you can buy a metal detector on Amazon. This is a 300-foot ship made out of iron. We don't know where it is. It's gone. It's not on the bottom of Commencement Bay that anybody can find, but it has been found previously. Every time a diver has found it, they've died. If they've brought a piece of the ship to the surface, they die.
Whoa.
And now it's gone. And it's not like it. So many people, it got ground up or something. No,
Ground
people are
steel.
like, yeah. There are comparable shipwrecks. Like the city of Kingston, right, is a ship that the bottom half sank around the same time. we know where that is. You can see it. You can point
To
it
this
out.
day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Andelana, a larger, stronger ship, has vanished.
And we can't say like enough silt has built up over it that it just isn't detectable.
The leading theory is that during an earthquake, there's this, movement to the silt that causes it to become more liquid than solid, and something of that weight could have dropped farther down and just be covered by the surface. Doesn't do a good enough job explaining why it doesn't shown up on like a...
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Some of our detective devices should be able to pick that up.
Yeah. Something,
Even now.
Something with that much iron should pop, right? So is it somewhere else?
Did we pour enough toxic chemicals into Commencement Bay over the
Oh,
years
yeah,
that it
over the-
dissolved it?
on top of it? Yeah. It's like a bottle of Coke.
Or maybe it's the opposite during the earthquake. It shook it up. It got buoyant again, and then
then
it
just
floated
floated
away.
Just buoyant enough to get out of the silt, and then just it's just out in the Puget Sound somewhere, and boop, boop, it's got 7 gill sharks swimming around it or something.
Any one of these incidents by itself, you could be like, well, I guess it's probably fine. But when you look at the whole picture of the Andelana, for example, there was one sailor on board who ends up dying by suicide after arriving in Tacoma. Before he kills himself, he wrote a little limerick, put it in a bottle with a shark tooth, and chucked it in the water, right? And then it flowed out Commencement Bay, out Puget Sound, down the Pacific coast, landed in the sands of Acapulco, Mexico,
Whoa.
and was discovered almost 80 years later and brought back to Tacoma.
How come I never find anything cool like that?
I know. I
can't
look
even
all the
find. I
time.
can't even find a disembodied foot on the beach.
Right, just shoes. We found shoes, but no foot.
I look in every shoe.
Yeah.
Garbage bags with no bodies.
I'm sorry, that is me. I've been really collecting the feet lately. It's for my OnlyFans.
Oh, yeah. He's just leaving the shoes and keeping the feet.
They're just perfectly preserved inside that shoe.
Darkness.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, like every piece of this ship that's been brought up or anything remains in Tacoma. It's had multiple times where they've tried to get rid of stuff. The ship always comes back.
Oh, that's fascinating.
So what do we have of pieces of the ship?
There is some irons from it that were brought up. There is a railing that was turned into gavels for
Oh, wow.
state senators.
Wow.
And there is a window, like a little deck light, a portal that's at the Washington State History Museum.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And that's basically it. That's all we have. Unless people have just taken it and gone off to be cursed.
Well, and then there's the bottle
Okay.
with the note. And then one of the weirdest things that's adjacent is there is a model of the Andelana in Tacoma right now.
Okay.
But it was made out of the streetcar wreck.
Oh, that seems like it'd be an extra cursed item.
I was
This
doubling
guy,
down on it.
like, didn't 40 people die in that?
Yeah,
It's like a challenge to the curses.
just
I
over
dare you.
40 people in 1900, overloaded streetcar coming down towards the Trestle Bridge, hits an angle too sharp on wet tracks, rolls down the hill, folds in on itself, blends 40-some people to death.
Blends.
And some guy goes down and takes a piece of that bloody wood from the salvage yard and carves a scale model of the Andelana and gives it to a kid who survived the wreck. It was like, isn't tragedy
Wow.
a funny thing?
Wow.
What a gift. Nice job, kid. Here you go.
I don't even say about that. That's
It's truly astounding, right?
So macabre. I can't even.
literally speechless.
It'd be like if you survived a car wreck, but your parents died, and then someone took the metal from that and made, like, I don't know.
The other car that killed them.
Yeah.
Here. Like,
Here's
that's
a
so
toy car
bizarre.
for you.
Here's the submersible that went down on its way to the Titanic. Isn't tragedy a hilarious thing?
This is so bad. You can't not laugh.
Wow,
Oh
the
my
thought process is
God.
amazing.
Okay.
So that's still here, steeped in darkness. You can see it down at the Foss Waterway Seaport Museum. It's on loan currently.
Okay, we got to get down
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to take his book.
I've probably already
and wander
seen
around.
it. if it's been there a while, because I've been down there before. I just didn't know the story.
It has. It's actually hilariously by the dive exhibit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Which, yeah, sick, but I love it.
Hilariously.
I hope they did that on purpose.
I know that they did. I know that they did. So yeah, it's worth seeing. And in fact, if you go there is not the pump, but the same model of pump that was keeping William Baldwin's suit pressurized.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That'd be
Before it
interesting to
didn't.
see.
Do they have some diving bells of that era there too to see, so you can kind of imagine what they were putting on their heads?
You know, it's nuts because they have an exact replica of the helmet that he was wearing at the time, and normally it has this light bulb inside of it. So during
Because it's
office
dark down
hours,
there.
yeah. Well, no, as a display
okay,
item.
okay.
So they put a little light bulb inside so that the mask would light up from the inside, and it'd be like a cool thing. For years now, I've been down there, and the light bulb is always broken. They'll put a new one in, and it looks like it implodes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah,
And
So
creepy.
you can look in through the front of the mask, and what's left of the light bulb is in there, just shattered
Shards.
glass.
Wow. Okay, that's creepy.
It is. It is indeed.
See, here's the thing is, you know me, I'm such a skeptic
Yeah.
when it comes to ghosts, but Chris is the only person who has gotten me very close to believing in ghosts.
I was going to say, looking at you over there, like, wow, this is creepy. I'm like, huh, what's happening over there?
Chris might make me a believer.
Because usually she's come up with 15 reasons why that's not possible. Or, here's an explanation about why that could happen.
I'm like,
And it's not a curse. It's this.
I'm all like, I'm with you here. I'm not just chomping at the bit to believe this, but there's so many elements to this damn ship
Yeah.
that, when chained together, are really very suspicious.
Well, and it's been persistent. Like the curse was on the ship, obviously, before it arrived on that fateful trip to Tacoma.
Mm-hmm.
Already, people were talking about the curse and the incidents that were happening, and then it sinks, and then even from then you've got your 12 passengers, or I'm sorry, workers who left because it was cursed, still cursed. You've got the diver, every diver that even tries to look at it is cursed. It's just very. It feels like, has anybody touched it and not?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, like it feels like it's hard to say there isn't a curse when this is like literally everyone except for the guy with the talisman
Is the only one to survive.
Yeah.
Let me blow your mind with this. So the very maiden voyage of the Andelana was in the early 1890s. It had a Japanese crew and a British captain. And they were coming around Cape Horn. And when they were down there, there was a gale. And so 2 of the sailors that had gone up in the rigging to secure one of the sails got blown out. And first guy falls down into the water next to the ship. And there you can read the captain's log from this, because the captain himself went and threw a lifeline to this sailor who was out there and described him as seeing him come up on the crest of the wave and smile at the captain and then vanish into the black.
Oh my.
The second sailor did survive, but he fell and landed on the deck and broke his back.
Oh.
Now here's where it gets wild. The crew at the time was had this firm Japanese tradition that the spirit of the sailor who drowned, they needed to honor him immediately to prevent him from turning into a vengeful ghost and trying to sink the ship with retribution. And this was a tradition that needed to be done the first night, and then on like a 1-year anniversary, a 5-year anniversary, and a 7-year anniversary. Captain agrees. They do their ceremony, but they don't have enough people tending to the rigging, and one of the masts breaks. So 7 days later, when the second sailor, who had just broken his back, dies from his injuries, the captain won't let them, take a moment to pause and honor him. He says, we'll do it soon.
Can't learn a lesson.
Puts him in salt, says, we'll take care of this later. And then the whole crew quits when they get to Japan. They're like, you have cursed this ship forever. We can't be near it. The Andelana disappears 7 years to the day from that second sailor's death.
No.
He died on January 13th in the 1890s. 7 years later, on January 13th, a single gale blows through, and the Andelana is the only ship that disappears in Commencement Bay.
That's crazy. To the day.
To the
That's
day.
insane.
Yeah.
This isn't real life.
It's hard to... I'm waiting for you to help us out here and explain away all of these things. But no.
I can't. It's old-timey and it's creepy.
Old-timey is our favorite.
Uh-huh. Okay. So, there's another story, and I don't know for sure if it's... I can't remember for sure if it's attached to the Andelana or not, but I did hear it on Anna's Downtown Ghost Tour. And I would love to hear you tell us about that.
You're talking about the girl, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. After this quick break. Okay, we are back. And Chris is going to tell us the creepiest tale that I heard on the Downtown Ghost Tour from Pretty Gritty Tours when I took this tour with Anna last year. And it is connected to our tale, correct?
Correct.
Okay, give it to us.
There is a lot of speculation that when the Andelana pulled away from Shanghai, one of the sailors named Robert Murdoch had drugged and abducted a young girl. And it was his intention to take her as a bride and marry her or whatever. And when the crew found out, it was too late to turn back to China. So they kind of just put him down below. They took care of the girl, and then they were going to figure out what to do by the time they arrived in Tacoma. Problem was, she couldn't be in Tacoma because this is right after the Chinese expulsion of 1885.
Right, and the Tacoma, the 1882 for Chinese expulsion, 1885 for the Tacoma method, November 3rd, 1885. So you can't be, like, you will get beaten.
Even if you're kidnapped and trafficked, you are not allowed to step foot on
And this was a prevalent issue. Like, one of the problems trying to figure out how bad the problem was at that time is that Chinese individuals weren't even being recorded.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the SS Pacific, for example, is a ship that vanished off the coast of Washington at around this time period. And no one's 100% sure if the death count of that was in the 300s or the 500s.
Oh, wow.
Because Chinese passengers weren't being listed.
Mm-hmm.
Andelana arrives with most likely this girl on board, and they try and figure out what to do with her. And their only plan that they can think of is if she's brought into the city secretly, kind of outside of the view of society and the law, maybe there's a place where she can stay until another ship that's going back to Shanghai departs 2 days later.
Ooh, maybe they use some of the steam tunnels to move her around.
For example, there's a couple locations that would have been really likely for this, but one of them is right downtown at this place called the Bradley. And that was a brothel at the time, so it, kind of operated under its own law at the time. Whatever the case, it doesn't go well. None of it goes the way that they planned because everyone on board the Andelana disappears. Robert Murdoch ends up getting let out early, and there's some accounts that he found that girl and murdered her.
Well, and she was living with the sex workers in the brothel, right? They were kind of taking care of her.
That was the plan.
And there was a saloon on the first floor, right? And there was brothel up above.
So if you've seen that corner downtown where Old City Hall is and the One Pacific building, there's the one that's Thai Pepper. That would have had like a saloon on the bottom and then brothel on the stories above it. And to this day, the third floor is untouched. Like, it has nothing up there except the beds and the rugs and some of the furniture that was left behind from the 1950s vice raid.
How do we get in there?
Is that going to be our new offices?
Yes.
If we can't get the Johnson and Cox building.
They don't lease it.
Oh.
They won't let anyone up there.
Oh, man.
In fact, there was a company on the second floor for a while that used to go up and check on the third floor because they would hear like fights where they thought someone had broken into the building and was dragging the furniture around.
Oh, creepy.
And one of the women that was working on the second floor went up and said she felt like someone shove her almost down the stairs.
Oh, dang.
Got home that night, and her roommate noticed that she had like a handprint on her arm, like a bruise.
That's crazy. So a real shove, like a grab and...
Yeah. So it's just there. I've seen it, allegedly. I don't know what I'm illegally allowed to say.
I have not seen it, allegedly.
But yeah, it's all there. And then Murdoch, right, the guy who kills this girl and then himself, it's his freaking letter that's found 80 years later down in Mexico.
No way.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was
him.
So the story that I heard was that he found her, he was like at the bar drinking all night, found out that she was there, dragged her out into the street, stabbed her to death, including stabbing out her eyes.
Yeah.
And then you'll see her ghost has been reported eyeless.
There's several kind of versions of this story that show up in Tacoma over the years. And one is that when the sailor drowns in Tacoma, his bride is down on the shore waiting for him to return. Another is that kind of along the streets in Tacoma, people see this girl almost like blindly feeling her way along the wall, and then she's looking for someone. But the one I've seen the most over the years is that people have said that they'll wake up in the middle of the night and there's this girl above them in their bed, and that she starts like frantically feeling the features of their face and calling out a name. And that like they'll see her for up to a week in the house, but it looks like she's blind.
Oh, geez,
And that all starts at that time when, allegedly what Murdoch said to her was that he found her there at the brothel, and he believed that she had chosen to work as a prostitute rather than wait faithfully for him. So
She's chosen.
yes, she had so many choices in it. So he said that she would never look at another man again, and then stabbed out her eyes.
Oh, this poor girl. Like,
Yeah.
kidnapped from her country on a ship full of, men, and I'm sure he wasn't the only awful human being
Right.
No.
at that. In fact, I'm shocked that people said, no, and you're going to go to jail, and let's protect this girl. I'm more shocked by that than what would have also happened to her. And then she gets to America, where they've just passed a law where she can't be there. So they've got to hide her. So they hide her in a brothel. I mean, this poor girl is just like, she, I mean, how did she get Andelana's curse before she even got on the ship?
Well, and that's the thing. There's so much darkness in those final moments. It's hard to know. But I will say, the image of this girl has repeatedly shown up in a lot of ways in Tacoma. And I think she's kind of an image of the area in a lot of ways, because since that event to now, one of the problems that the area has had is the disappearance of girls of a similar age, right? Like the absolute just cluster of serial killers that have begun or continued in this area. I mean, you mentioned Anna. She's one of our guides earlier. When she was growing up, she briefly had her babysitter, who was Gary Ridgway.
Oh my
No.
gosh.
Yeah.
No.
Like-
Really?
Who would have this guy babysit?
Like you're never more than 2 shades away out here.
Yeah.
And so, I think when people look around the area, whatever your stance is on the paranormal, there is this persistence of that original crime.
Wow. That is creepy.
I agree.
So creepy.
Well, thank you, Chris, for sharing both your book
My
and these very, very creepy stories.
pleasure. This is what I do.
I've been waiting for this for a year. I know we tried to get you in here last year at this time for this, and we just couldn't. So I'm so excited. if you guys want to hear more of Chris's stories, he's always this engaging and entertaining on all of his tours. So you need to go take a tour with Pretty Gritty Tours. Spooky season is the perfect time. You've got the amazing downtown and old Tacoma ghost tours. And then in Olympia, you've got Booze Brews in the Roaring Twenties and there's another ghost tour in Olympia, right?
The History and Haunts tour down in Olympia.
With an author, correct?
Yeah, Ira, who wrote like the Haunted Puget Sound series. He's got a book about cryptids and like the Graveyard of the Pacific. Really good stuff. And then also up in Seattle.
Yes, with my friend Richard.
Richard is fantastic.
Victorian true crime in Lakewood Cemetery, and he's Pioneer Square now as well.
Yeah. Oh man, the Pioneer Square one.
We got to go on that one. He was going to take us on a tour that involved elevator tragedies, which seemed really interesting.
Very interesting. I already have a fear of that, though.
Maybe we don't need to.
Did he? I don't want to take too much of your time, but he shared with me, it's on the tour, one of my favorite dark moments from early Seattle down there in the Whitechapel area. Whitechapel was this like slum district in Tacoma, kind of where the train station is now.
Okay, I'm only familiar with Whitechapel in London being the like creepy Jack the Ripper area. Okay.
Same thing over here. Yeah.
Great.
And it was built over the tide flats. And it was not uncommon that people would get knifed in the Whitechapel area and then put through the floor onto the tide flats, and the crabs would pick them clean. Yeah. But the police would rarely go in. But there was one day where like it was such a commotion that an officer went into one of these dark little restaurants because it was like a huge fight was taking place. And when he got down there, most of the lights had been knocked over and were out. And all he heard was this word like psst, psst, psst. And could see a guy kind of in the semi-darkness in the middle stumbling around. So he gets a light lit, and there inside is a man who had gotten into a katana fight.
Like you do.
And during the fight, he went to duck, and the guy chopped off just the top of his head.
Oh, God, no.
Oh, my.
And what the officer was hearing is that an artery was spurting and then hitting the hot pan in the corner of the room.
Oh, sizzling. Oh, that must have smelled fantastic.
Well, I mean,
awful.
God.
That's the kind of darkness you could expect on our tours.
They were very used to bad smells.
I was about
this
to
would
say,
have been a new one.
Yeah, this is a new bad smell. Well, and you also have ghost tours in Eastern Washington, Kennewick, Richland, Walla Walla.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And if you book a tour in Richland or Walla Walla, you might even get friend of the show, Alicia Elliott, as your guide.
She's a delight.
She is. She gives tours to Pendleton, Sacagawea State Park, Prosser Wineries, Cherries, not chariots, and historic tours of Richland. And she's going to be, I didn't tell you this, Jody, she's going to be a guest on the show.
Oh.
Next month, we're going to talk about the Hanford. She's so excited. She's
about
like,
the web?
Oh, yeah.
Hanford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
she's like, I'm living and breathing Hanford right now. I was like, come on the show.
Yeah.
It's going to be so good.
That'll be a good one, definitely.
So again, if you want to explore more of Tacoma, go out to your local bookseller, maybe.
It should be downtown somewhere.
You could also cave and get on evil corporate seller website. I did see it was on there on Amazon, right?
Yeah, I would avoid that. You can just get it directly from readypress.com.
Okay. readypress.com. Or if you attend one of Chris's book signing events, he usually has them on for sale.
And that's the way to do it.
Yeah. So
Also, yes, because you also get a good story from Chris, which is...
you get a good story. More of that, those proceeds go to Chris. So that's what we like. And it is, again, called Secret. Well, why don't you say it?
Secret Tacoma, a guide to the obscure and wonderful.
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to definitely need you back again. Maybe we'll just make this a yearly spooky thing. So you're going to have to save up some spooky stories for us.
He has plenty.
I do got some good ones for you.
So thank you, Chris, so much for being here.
My pleasure.
And thank you to all of our listeners. And again, if you would like to hear more, and in fact, I think I'm going to ask you to stick around for a few more minutes and share. I have a particular story of yours I want you to share with just the Patreon members. So if you want to hear the story that may have made me a believer a little bit in the paranormal, came from Chris.
Yeah.
You're going to have to join the Patreon. So just head on over to rainydayrabbitholes.com/support to sign up there. I will also have links to all of Chris's stuff, Pretty Gritty Tours, the link to Reedy Press where you can buy the book, and some of his great videos that you can see some of this information about. And so head on over to our website, to the podcast page, and you can look in the show notes as well. And again, thank you so much, and see you down the rabbit hole.